Peyton Manning, Joe Montana, Roger Staubach, and Tom Brady. These are all Hall of Fame quarterbacks, but only one has played in the Super Bowl past the age of 40, and that was Tom Brady. He's been in the league since 2000 and has been one of the best players in the NFL year in and year out. And even if you're not a football fan, you have to appreciate what he's done to devote himself to being really good at what he does. And I've been a Patriots fan and a Tom Brady fan since 2006, and I just turned on the game and it was the Patriots, and I started liking them. And so I'm going to talk about three things. I'm going to talk about his greatness and what he's done through his career, how he's kept up his high level of consistency for so long, and then players playing past 40 and the toll football takes on the body. So first we're going to get into his greatness. Tom Brady was selected in the 6th round in 2000, but he didn't get his first start until 2001 when Drew Bledsoe, the starting quarterback, got injured in a nasty hit versus the New York Jets, and Brady came in and took over and led them to the Super Bowl, where they were up against the greatest show on turf in the St. Louis Rams, and they were heavily underdogs in that game. Brady won the start over a healthy Drew Bledsoe, and late in the game, they were at their own 17-yard line. The game tied at 21, and this is the first time people saw the Tommy Terrific magic. He led them down and got into field goal range for Adam Vinatieri to knock in field goal for them to secure their first Lombardi trophy. They went back to the Super Bowl in 2003, where again Brady led them down for Vinatieri to get in field goal range and hit another field goal. And then they went back in 2004 for a repeat, and they ended up winning against the Philadelphia Eagles 24-21, and New England Patriots have had 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. They almost made it back in 2005 and 2006, but were kicked out of the AFC Championship both years. They then acquired Hall of Fame receiver Randy Moss in 2007, and then in that season they went a perfect 16-0 in the regular season, beating teams like New York Giants, San Diego Chargers, and the 2 teams that had kicked them out earlier, and the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Indianapolis Colts. They strolled to the Super Bowl, where they had a rematch versus the Giants, but with some lucky sack escapes and a sticky helmet of David Tyree. The Patriots ended up losing that game 17-14, but went 18-1 in that season, and is one of the best teams ever to either win a Super Bowl or not win a Super Bowl, regardless. Then Brady tore his ACL in that next season in the home opener, and they didn't reach a Super Bowl until 2012, where they lost again to the New York Giants, and people thought Brady was washed up. But he ended up making it back to the Super Bowl in 2014, where they played defending champion Seattle Seahawks, and Brady hit his trusty receiver Julian Edelman late in the game to go up 28-24, and then Malcolm Butler made an incredible game-saving interception at the goal line for the Patriots to secure their 4th Super Bowl. Then they made it back in 2017, where they found themselves in a 28-3 deficit versus the Atlanta Falcons late in the 3rd quarter. That didn't worry Brady at all. He had some late game heroics and brought the Patriots all the way back to tie the game and send it to overtime, and where they ended up winning in overtime, and Brady secured his spot as one of the best to ever play the game. In 2018, he took him back to try for his 6th ring. He was the 2nd player in NFL history to play in the Super Bowl past the age of 40, but fell to the Philadelphia Eagles 41-33, although Brady had 505 passing yards with 3 TDs and no interceptions. Now that I've talked about his great career, I will talk about how he's done this for so long and so great. Tom Brady, he wrote a book called the TV12 Method this past offseason, and explains how he can continue his high level of play. He has a personal trainer that he does workouts with, and they strengthen muscles that most young players wouldn't particularly, work out. And he goes through different diets that most young players want to go through also. He also studies more than anybody in the league. He is a big student of the game. He studies tendencies of players so he can get around, have a better edge on them. He said in his book that he focuses on the positive more as he gets older in his career, because it doesn't help. You gain nothing from getting angry or frustrated, and has to approach every situation positively, no matter what the circumstance is. All of this is a big part of his competitiveness. He's the most competitive player in the league. Getting drafted in the 6th round still bugs him 18 years later. Somebody once said that he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder, he has a boulder. And then he's also very confident in his ability. On the first day of rookie camp in 2000, he went up to the owner of the New England Patriots, Robert Kraft, and said, "Hello, Mr. Kraft, I'm Tom Brady, your 6th round draft pick." Robert Kraft said, "I know who you are," and Brady's response was, "Well, I'm the best decision this organization has ever made." He works hard and believes in himself to make plays and leads his team to win no matter what the circumstances. Now I've talked about that, how he's done it. I will talk about the players playing past 40 and the toll on your body. There's been a lot of players that played past 40, but only a handful have played at a high level consistently. A few of those are Jerry Rice, who is the only other player to play in a Super Bowl past the age of 40. Brett Favre, for the Minnesota Vikings, took them to the NFC Championship in his final year. Len Dawson, who played for the Kansas City Chiefs in the 1970s. And Darrell Green, who played until he was 42 for the Washington Redskins, and Warren Moon, who went to a Pro Bowl at the age of 41. Brady will turn 41 in August, right before his 19th season. And Brady putting up the numbers that he did in the Super Bowl shows that he's not slowing down by any means. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that football is a very violent sport. People are hit every play, and your body is on the line every time you step on the field. Anywhere past 30, pre-existing injuries might flare up. But that's why Brady focuses so much on his off-season workouts to make sure that doesn't happen. So now, to recap, I talked about his greatness, what he's done to play at a consistent level, and playing past 40. Brady has played for 18 years and has 5 Super Bowl rings. So even if you're not a fan of football, how he has devoted himself for so long to this sport and to anything, it's just something to admire. As a Patriots fan, I want to see him play as long as he can, but no matter what happens, he will always have one more trophy, and that is a gold jacket in Canton. Thank you.